Hát most egy nagyon szép előadás következik, ugyanis Erik Schön fogja tartani, úgyhogy váltok megint angolra. Erik Schön is from Erlang Solutions Nordic, and the Nordic FinTech market is probably one of the best in the whole world. Whenever I spent time, for example, in Copenhagen, I've not only met a lot of fintech companies, not only met a big blooming industry, not only met big professionalism, but also I've met a very friendly fintech scene and a very a fintech scene which you feel close to. It's not something something that you want to avoid, but something you want to hold closer to you. So I'm really enthusiastic about the Scandinavian market. And Erik, are you here with us?
Yes, indeed. Thank you for the generous introduction.
Hi, thank you for being with us here today, even if it's online. So you have a presentation here online. You can start the presentation, and in the end, probably if there's going to be some questions, I'm going to translate it to you. Thank you.
Thank you, and Shia Budapest, and hello to the rest of the world online. Great to be here. I will be talking a bit about what FinTech can learn from Telecom, and from the Scandinavian markets, of course. And let's see if can you see my screen now? Because I'm trying to share it, but I cannot really do it. Yeah, you can see my screen. Great. Well, trying again.
We can't see the screen yet.
No.
Okay, now it's here. Okay, great. Now we can see your screen.
Great. So. Yes, let's jump right into it. What are the jobs to be done in FinTech, and what is the right tool for the job? That's what I will talk about. So let's see. Yeah, the job to be done. Is it the hungry teenager, the hungry kid, or the romantic date, or the family dinner? That we also, of course, need to start with. What is the job to be done? So we know what tools or food to use. So you know FinTech much better than I do. I'm a radio head. I used to work for Ericsson for many years in research and development of mobile systems, 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G, whatever G you know and like. But FinTech, I think it's a fantastic industry. You know, ever since the iPhone was launched some 14 years ago, and we could start using smartphones and apps, it has been a tremendous revolution for telecom and for many other industries. So with a smartphone, we need to have extreme user experience in the sense that people don't want to wait. If you wait more than half a second, maybe someone will leave your app and go to another app. You need to have extreme reliability. Your app cannot be down. I used a bank in Scandinavia where it was often down, so I had to get another credit card from another bank to have the redundancy that I'm used to have in telecom from the providers. When it comes to security, of course, it's super important. You don't want to lose your money, right? So having technology that can withstand various denial of service attacks and of course have few or no vulnerabilities, or as few vulnerabilities as possible. Real time, we already talked about that. It's no longer a batching world where you can batch transaction every 24 hours. People will expect the clicks on the smartphone to result in something within half a second. Otherwise, you get very frustrated. And I know there has been some cases where the user interface is very nice, but it takes 30 seconds to access your backend, and that's not acceptable anymore. And of course, scalability, depending on the size of your operations. If you're a big incumbent bank, you need the scalability, or if you're a central bank, you need the scalability, of course. But if you're successful as a startup or a scale-up or a unicorn like Klarna, founded here in Stockholm 15 years ago, of course you need the scalability as well. So if I try to summarize the jobs to be done in FinTech today as I see them, saving time and money for customers, obviously, but of course, securing the trust and loyalty. Those are absolute fundamentals. They have to be there. If you cannot do that, you will soon be out of business. Then, of course, if you're a startup, you need to develop new services very, very quickly, and of course, onboard new customers quickly, smoothly, without any hassle. Otherwise, you will not get any income, and then you will die. If you're a traditional bank, of course, you need to meet the challenges of the startups, and it's a matter of saving money, to be honest. That's what I hear when talking to the big Swedish banks, Nordea, Swedbank, SEB, Handelsbanken. This is a very, very important job to be done for them. The US tech giants, maybe we don't see them as competitors, but they are seeing the fintech market, and they will use their superpower. If it's customer knowledge, like Facebook, if it's user interface expertise, like Apple, or if it's social, so they will try to get in and grab a big share of the big fintech market using their superpowers. And then, of course, the clearing houses, the banking centers, and the central banks, they want to have the extreme scalability and also the resilience, because if you're a central bank, you cannot close down, really. You have to have 24/7, 365 open and available all times. So to summarize, it's about real-time, secure, reliable, scalable, fast development, low-cost operations, and interoperability across borders. We see that now with things like P27 Nordic payments, the same way as the mobile telecom industry. We're moving from regional standards to European standards like GSM, 2G, and then to global standards in 3G, 4G, and 5G. So the interoperability across borders. You want to send money instantly to your friends in neighboring countries, like you can do with services like Revolut, for instance. And the real time is a new thing, that you should do things within maybe not milliseconds, but seconds and half seconds. So this is really, really important. So this is FinTech today. This is different from FinTech yesterday or 10 years ago or 15 years ago, but let's look at Telecom. What have Telecom done? So just to summarize the history, there were global phone calls. You could call international in the 60s and 70s. It was very, very secure, very, very reliable, because this was infrastructure critical to society, right? You wanted to call 911, the ambulance, the firefighters, the police, and you didn't want to get a busy tone. Then 80s, 90s, things were getting mobile. You could have your big mobile phone and soon a small mobile phone, and you could make calls and connect globally to other countries. Then the third wave is the smartphones and mobile apps. You have apps always available everywhere, and you expect your mobile phone network, no busy tone, it's still infrastructure critical to society, and it has to be up at all times. It can never go down. So to summarize, it's real-time, it's secure, it's reliable, scalable, you need fast development, it's low-cost operations, and it's interoperability across borders. This looks very familiar. This looks very similar to what we just saw, the needs in the new FinTech world. And indeed, the needs are the same. The FinTech needs have evolved to become identical to the needs of the telecom world. And the new things, it's always been about secure, reliable, scalable things in the FinTech market, of course. And low cost has always been important. More and more important about development speed, fast development of new services. That's slightly new, I would say, in the FinTech world. But the really new things are real-time and interoperability across borders. And that's some of the lessons we could learn from the telecoms world in the FinTech world. Okay, so these were a few things about the jobs to be done. Let's see and take a look at what the right tool for the job is. You know, is it the McDonald's for the hungry teenager? Is it the pasta bolognese for the kid, or is it the caprese for the date, romantic date, or is it the stew for the family dinner? And I would argue that Erlang Elixir OTP, an open source software technology developed by Ericsson in the 80s and 90s to fulfill all the needs of the telecom space, is one of the right tools for the job. I've seen this firsthand at Ericsson, where it's used to handle 40% of all the mobile traffic in the packet routers from Ericsson. It's used by Cisco to handle, I think it's 80 or 90% of all the internet traffic in the Cisco routers. So Erlang open source technology is used to manage the Cisco hardware servers. So this open source system has been in existence for 20, 30 years, depending a bit on how you think or how you calculate. And it gives you some very, very significant business outcomes. I will not go into the technological details today, but I'm of course very happy to talk more about that offline. It would be great to have a shot of Palinka in Budapest, but unfortunately I cannot be with you. But I have a few of my colleagues from Erlang Solutions who are live at the event, and of course you can continue talking to them in the breaks and tonight. But I hope to be in Budapest soon to have a shot of Palinka and talk more about this. But anyway, so the business outcomes, and we have proof points, of course. So 2 times faster, you can develop new services with fewer people. There's research from Motorola from the early 2000s that you need 4 to 20 times less code. And that translates into shorter time to market. You will get quicker from idea to a solution in the hands of your customers. Maybe not 4 to 20 times, because there are other factors as well, but double the speed is definitely possible. Then next, 10x better. That's the quality. That's the downtime or uptime, where you want your services to be down less than 5 minutes a year. These are the 5 nines that you often talk about in telecom. And we have proof points from Ericsson, from the packet core routers, from fixed line routers that reach those 5 nines, meaning that your system is down less than 5 times per year. So that's possible. Then 10x safer. This is the ability to withstand hacker attacks, be it denial of service attacks, where you add or a lot of traffic, or you exploit vulnerabilities in your technology. And there's a database of known vulnerabilities called CVE, the CVE database. And if you look at a common technology like Java or with the Java virtual machine, last time I looked I think it was 500-600 known vulnerabilities. And if you look at Erlang and Elixir, there were, I think, 11 or 12. And that's because of the nature of the open source technology here, that it has been developed to withstand traffic spikes and denial of service attacks. And there are a few technological decisions that leads to much fewer vulnerabilities in the Erlang Elixir open source ecosystem. So next, we have the 10 times more, and this is about users and transactions, and again, real time, within milliseconds. And I think the good example here is WhatsApp. They are now at 2 billion users, and they have hundreds of millions of messages sent every second. I think they're using, I don't know how many thousands of servers, but they are very, very happy with using Erlang Elixir OTP for their backend. And it was developed by, I think, a team of 15, 16, 17 people over 6 months, which is amazing. I think it would have taken hundreds of people twice the time, 1 or 2 years to do what they did for WhatsApp, and it works really, really well. And I'm sure a few of you are WhatsApp users. And at the same time, you can reduce your costs and energy consumption. So a good example is Bleacher Report, an online magazine, where they were using 150 servers before migrating from Ruby on Rails to Elixir. And after that migration, they used 5 servers. And they could have used 1, but they wanted to have some geographical redundancy and extra safety. And I think there were also some GDPR rules that they needed to have the servers in the country of operations to not move data across the EU borders, for instance. And I think also WhatsApp, the head of WhatsApp talked publicly around the reduction in energy by 25%, which also mean a reduction of OPEX, operation cost, of 25% by moving to the latest version of Erlang Elixir OTP that was launched in May this year, OTP 24. So the Erlang Elixir OTP open source ecosystem gives you a lot of business outcomes, and they are orders of magnitude of multiple 10x benefits. And just to show you a few examples that a number of companies have realized that Erlang Elixir OTP open source ecosystem is the right tool for the job in FinTech. I think you probably heard of OTP Bank, founded and headquartered in Budapest, 13 million customers in Central and Eastern Europe. They are a prime example of what you can do with Erlang and OTP. And the funny coincidence is, of course, that they were called OTP Bank long before OTP as Open Telecom platform was invented in the 80s and 90s. But you see, it's big companies like Visa, MasterCard, Goldman Sachs, Bloomberg, Nasdaq. And you have a few unicorns like Klarna from the Nordics. You have the scale-ups like E-Trade, Solaris Bank, SumUp. Kivra is also scale up. You have the blockchain, Bitcoin type of companies also using this technology, for example, Eternity. We see the startups in the Nordics that use Elixir, that includes Rocker, Monara. So I think this just shows that both startups and the big incumbents can benefit from this technology for the reasons I mentioned. 2 times faster, 10 times better, 10 times safer, 10 times more for 10 times less. And I think that concludes my presentation. So, if you have some questions, I'd be happy to answer them right away if we have some time. Otherwise, I have a couple of colleagues, Zoltan and Martin, who are in the building, who can answer questions as well in the breaks. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Erik, for your presentation. And is there any question from the audience? No, not this time. Again, actually, I have one question. You mentioned 5 minutes per downtime, 5 minutes downtime on average a year. Did I say it right?
Yes, correct.
Well, maybe you should contact Facebook, for example. That would be a good idea, I think. But how do you achieve this? So it's really amazing. What kind of let's put it in another perspective. What's the worst in we have seen a lot of companies here. What's the worst? So 5 minutes is an average. I think an average statistics, but what is the worst statistics? How much downtime in a year?
That's a very good question, and of course that's a bit confidential, and to be honest, I don't know exactly the figures for all these companies because we have not collaborated with all of them. I know the figures that have been publicly published from Ericsson, and it's definitely possible to reach the 5 nines if you want to. And coming back to Facebook, I know WhatsApp, they are using Erlang, but it wasn't the problem of Erlang. It was other problems that they had. But I know that the whole WhatsApp group, they are looking at the Erlang backend to get inspired and improve the other parts of WhatsApp. But you know, it's a good question, but it's a bit confidential. The uptowns, it's a bit uptown. It's a bit sensitive with how many minutes you are down, and you know, in telecom, this is very, very important, because if you don't fulfill these requirements, you will be potentially losing your license if you're a mobile operator, or you will be called to the ministry. So this was designed from the beginning in the Erlang OTP Elixir ecosystem to be able to reach 5 nines, because this is critical infrastructure for society, and now we can benefit from that. And that's why a lot of people using Ruby on Rails move to Elixir, because they want to reach those 5 nines from maybe 2 or 3 nines that they normally have in their e-commerce platform, for instance.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Whatever the distribution of these statistics are, 5 minutes average is definitely very, very, very good. So it's good to hear that you raise this aspect of FinTech functioning, because it's really important. Thank you very much for being with us, and more success on the way. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.